All right, welcome into Prize Picks on 5 here on the 5 Reasons YouTube channel. We are now sponsored as well, or we're partnered as well with NBA Central. You can follow them at the NBA Central for all of your general NBA content. Of course, at 5 Reasons, we're expanding into more general NBA as well. I'm Ethan Skolnick. Again, you can follow me at Ethan J. Skolnick and at 5 Reasons Sports. I've got David Eversole. You can follow him at David W. Eversole. I have found a place in South Florida that is not flooded, so we're going to do this before it starts flooding again. Make sure you use the code 5, F-I-V-E, at PrizePicks.com when you sign up with your initial deposit. If you do that, you will get your initial deposit matched up to $100. If you're planning on playing $100 at some point, you probably should put down the 100 at the beginning because you'll get the match. And again, this is free money. This is not a rollover, anything like that, and it is legal in many, many states, including the state of Florida. So go to PrizePicks.com, download the app at the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store, and start playing. Again, you can play more than just the NBA. They got MLB, NHL, Stanley Cup playoffs are starting soon. MMA, golf, tennis, everything is there, including the NFL props for the season. So check it out. Go to prizepicks.com. Use the code 5, F-I-V-E. All right, let's get to it. We've got Heat and Bulls tonight. We're going to do a separate episode later today on the other play-in game for the 8th spot in the West, which, of course, is between Minnesota, which will have Rudy Gobert back, and they will be playing OKC, which is one of the better stories in the NBA right now. But today we're going to do Heat Bulls. I'll be at the arena tonight, the Kaseya Center, or whatever it is they're calling it these days. David, I will start here with my Heat props. To me, the one that jumped out to me, because I just feel like the Heat are going to try to get him involved early with the easiest baskets they possibly can get him, because he struggled the other night, is Bam Adebayo. I don't typically play dunk props, but one dunk, like I feel like
One and
if
a
you
half now. They bumped it to one and a
Oh,
half.
they bumped it, so they saw my
They
play.
did.
I'm glad I got that in early. So they got it at 1.5. Okay, so that eliminates the chance of just getting a push in sort of a 3 or 4 Prize Picks play and it not hurting you. I still think he's going to get 2 dunks, David. I still think he's going to get 2 dunks. They're going to find a way to get him some easy buckets, just to get him involved early, and so I'm going to go over with him on the 1.5, even though, again, I had it at 1 a little bit earlier. That's why you check the props. You see what you can play before they catch on to you. The other one I like here on the Heat side is Hero over 3 assists. Ball going to be in his hands a lot. I expect, both Lowry and Vincent are listed as questionable. Lowry's going to play. I believe Vincent will play as well. But I do think 3 assists is a comfortable prop with Hero. I think worst case, he matches it, likely goes over. I was not comfortable with the Jimmy Butler props, even though here's the one thing on this. His best scoring games since leaving Chicago have come against Chicago. So he does tend to score well against the Bulls. He's probably going to be guarded by Levine or DeRozan at times. I think he can get off against either of them, although he'll see Caruso and Beverly quite a bit as well. But I'm gonna abstain. I'm not gonna go under, but I'm gonna abstain on the Jimmy props. The Bam prop I like is dunks. The Hero prop I like is assists. But you went outside the box for your prop on the Heat. What do you like?
Well, I'm gonna go look at Bam Adebayo first, but I'm gonna look at actually Max Strus. He gets some minutes, like you said. If maybe Lowry and or Vincent is limited or questionable, I think they're gonna shoot better than they did against Atlanta. And I like Strus over 1.5 assists. I think he could just kind of find his way into a couple easy baskets for somebody else, and that's a really nice low number. So I like to take a flyer on somebody like that who's shown that they can get 2 or 3 assists at any given time. So I think that's a reasonable number for Strus. But regarding Bam, I still haven't seen it. So until I
Mm.
see it, like, is this the Bam game? Is this the aggressive Bam game? Blah blah blah. It's kind of the same story, but he hasn't been getting to the line much the last 3 games. He had 2 made against Atlanta. He had 0 makes in the 2 previous games before that. So I'm gonna take him under 4 free throws made. I put those error. There's 4 free throws made, not attempted. So I
Okay.
still think he's gonna get his, but maybe not just like super aggressively. I think he'll maybe end up with 17, 18 points in this game. I feel like it's a Jimmy Butler kind of do or die, maybe Udonis Haslam's last game. I just feel like this is kind of like all out Jimmy Butler game, and then Bam just kind of do what he needs to do, especially on the rebounding side. I was curious as to your thoughts on the rebounding props, because the Heat just got destroyed, as we all know, by Capella and company against Atlanta, -24 on the glass.
I don't feel good about the Bam rebounding props unless they're going to play a different defensive scheme. Because he's just not under the basket enough. Now, I do think Caleb Martin will start tonight. Spoelstra hinted at a lineup change, and that's the most likely, is to put Martin and maybe even Lowry back in the starting lineup the way they were for the season opener against the Bulls. These things kind of come full circle here. But I don't, it's hard to bet on Bam's rebounds when, again, he's switching out on the perimeter. So he has not been an elite offensive rebounder this year. The defensive rebounds, he rebounds better when he plays next to Caleb than when he plays next to Love. His rebounding numbers went down. And some of it is Love grabbed some of his rebounds, but some of it is also that they started playing a little bit more drop. But again, Love was the guy that was mostly under the basket. I don't know. I'm not comfortable with his rebound numbers. His point number at 18.5, is that where it still is? It was there earlier today. I'm not
Yeah.
I'm not comfortable with that either. I'll say this: if he goes under the 4 free throws made, they're losing. I'm with you that he may go under, but then I think they're losing because I think it can't just be Jimmy tonight. Okay, somebody else is going to have to be aggressive. And that's why, again, I'm playing Hero, but Hero's points number was a little high for me. I think he could go over it. I understand what you're saying with Strus. The only thing about Strus tonight is this: I don't know that he's going to start. Um, and so, and I feel like Spoelstra is going to have the quickest hook ever with some guys. So I'm uncomfortable playing their role players tonight because if Spo basically plays 7.5 in terms of what his actual minute distribution is, I don't know if Max is going to get the minutes to accumulate the 1.5 assists. So that would be my concern with it. I did not see Lowry on the board. Did you?
No. Or Caleb.
See, I would play Caleb over on some stuff if he pops on the board later, and I might play Lowry over because I think they're both going to start. I'm not guaranteeing that, but the fact that Spoelstra hinted at it, that makes the most sense, is to start those two guys. You don't start Kevin Love against this team. You can't because they're playing DeRozan at the 4, so that's not an option. It just makes the most sense to start Caleb. It gives you an extra defender. You have Jimmy and Caleb guarding Levine and DeRozan. That's the way I would do it because you can hide Lowry and Hero on Beverly and Caruso because they're not going to break you down off the dribble. And then Bam plays Vucevic. Like, that is the natural matchup. I think they're going to start Lowry and Martin, and so I would play Lowry and Martin over tonight. But again, they're not on the board. What do you like on the Bulls side?
Kobe White, 9.5
Yeah.
points. He's had 14 a game against the Heat. He's just pretty consistent versus them. He shoots the ball fairly well. He's kind of a streaky shooter from outside, but I feel like the Heat scheme kind of allows guys to get some looks, not the primary guys. So for Chicago, I like him over just 9.5 points.
I like that too. He has been a Heat killer traditionally, and I do think he'll get the minutes tonight to do that again. I like Pat Williams over 3 rebounds. Again, the aggressive, athletic bigs tend to do well against Miami. We just saw that in the Atlanta game. The 3 rebound number, I know he's gone under there a couple times. I'm going to play that over tonight. What was the other one I liked? I can't even remember. Was it Caruso? No, it's Beverly.
It was Beverly over 6 points.
Yeah, a couple of threes. You're there. And he has had this kind of grudge against the Heat from the beginning. He used to, even though
He's got a grudge against everybody.
He does, but he's got, like, he's tight with UD, but like he's gotten into it with LeBron when he was with there. But again, this is a guy that the Heat drafted and cut in training camp for Eddie House, going way back to the Big Three era. I just have a hunch on this that Pat Bev is going to do something to irritate the hell out of Heat fans tonight. 6 points seems fairly comfortable to me. I'm gonna go over on that one. And the other one, but my prize pick today is clear. DeMar DeRozan is averaging 28.5 points against the Heat in 3 games this year, and he's shooting. They just bumped it to 22.5. It was 22 earlier in the day, and he's shooting 65% against the Heat this year. This is another reason that Caleb Martin needs to start, because either Martin or Jimmy needs to be on him all the time. I still think he goes over. I know DeMar has this DeMar DeFrozen reputation, but not against Miami. So I'm going to play him over tonight. If I had to pick 2 of all of my props, I'd play DeRozan. I've already done it, actually. Played Bam over the dunks, played DeRozan over the points. Both have bumped up half a number since I played them, but I would still play those 2. Anything else that jumps out at you tonight?
Not particularly until maybe Lowry or Martin, like you said, comes on the board. There's no 3-point props
Right.
for those guys, so I want to maybe see if more things unfold. Except for the Jimmy Butler, half a three. It's such an interesting prop game to game.
It is. I don't, I don't know what Jimmy we're seeing tonight, which is crazy to say, but I just don't know. All right. Do all of this. Use the code 5FIVE. Follow our friends over at the NBA Central. Follow us at 5 Reasons Sports. I'll be back later tonight. Like I said, most likely with David Friedman, and we're going to preview Minnesota and OKC. Have a good day, everybody.